Okay, we are live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Movie Couple. Well, it's not really the movie couple today. It is just me. I am here at the Anaheim Convention Center, right in the thick of it, for day two of Star Wars Celebration. Oh, hello, how are ya? So I wanted to come on live today to talk to you about the panel that I got to see today, which is the Light and Magic panel. So this was, oh, and sorry, you guys, if there's a sort of wind, if you hear wind, I am outside. It was like the quietest place that I could find. So this is where we're going to be. Um, so day two, even though I am exhausted from yesterday because I don't think I went to bed until 1 and I woke up at 6 a.m. Um, it's so far for my schedule, anyways, has been pretty chill. I did the very first panel of the day, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit, the Light and Magic panel. And then I'm going to kind of wrap things up here. I might take a look at the floor because I really haven't really exactly I've been on the floor a little bit, but I visited the same booths. So I think it's time to actually explore and then kind of prepping later tonight, heading to Disneyland. Hello, Phantom on Linear. Welcome you guys in the chat. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. If you're wondering, what is Light and Magic? That is actually going to be a 6 episode series that's going to be coming to Disney Plus, and that's going to give the fans of Star Wars and in general movie making a really good detailed look at behind the curtains by some of the legends in the industry, filmmakers, designers, illustrators, and etc. Because Light and Magic, if that sounds familiar, it reminds you of uh, industry light and magic ILM, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. And the panel, so it had Larry Caston, well, who was not able to come to the celebration. Unfortunately, he was sick, but he was there virtually, so he was still able to talk to us. Ron Howard, Phil Tippett, Rose Dugan. I'm reading the names so I don't mess them up. Dennis Murin, Joe Johnston, and Linwin Brennan. So we kind of take a look back at how everybody started, how it was started, and what ILM and Lucasfilm was both like in the very beginning. And of course, when we're talking about the earliest work from Ron Howard, we got to talk, American Graffiti, and that was essentially his first time working with George Lucas. And a lot of the creators that were on the panelists recounted their first time working with George Lucas, the man who created Star Wars and have given us so many treasures. So again, if you are a movie fan, like this is the series, and there's 6 episodes, docu-series coming to Disney Plus very soon. But what the consensus seems to be from the panelists on working with George Lucas is that he was a very flexible kind of a director. He gave a lot of freedom to the creators. He gave, they would ask him what he wanted, and he would not really give them specific direction, but he would give more so suggestions. And it was so that these creators could have the flexibility so they don't feel too tied down for these things. So I thought that that was really cool to see. Let me see here. So that was really great. They talked about essentially for Joe Johnston, um, his first concept, the designs of the X-wings and the Y-wings, and the Imperial fleet versus the Rebel fleet. And they said George essentially wanted the Rebel fleet to have the feel of hot rods, so they can outrun any sort of other Imperial fleets. It's kind of like industrial models versus like hot rod, um, which that's the vibe that I feel like I get when we have a space battle, when they have the dogfights in space. There was a lot of treasures in this panel for Phil Tippett. He is just so I would eventually like to have like just a panel with Phil Tippett, because he talked about designing the Tauntauns for George Lucas, and then from that he kind of sidebar into other creatures that he started drawing and creating, and one of them was Admiral Akbar. And he said George pointed to the creature and he said, "Oh, who is that, or what is that?" And he said, "Oh, that's a I don't know, calamari man." And George Lucas said, "Great, we'll call him Admiral Akbar." And then he goes, "The creature, they're the species, they're called Mon calamari," which we all know. So it's really funny about like these sort of names, how they come about. There's a really funny tidbit that I'll get into a little bit later about how Salacious Crumb came to be named. So stay tuned for that. So a lot of each of these panelists got their own. It seems like we didn't get to see any sort of teaser or trailer or anything like that for the Light and Magic panel, but they did give us, footage kind of highlighting each person that was sitting up there on the panel. So with Phil Tippett, how he came up with multiple designs of the gray. George asked for a gray snow lizard, and so that's how he took us, in the series. It seems like he'll take us from how he designed the creature from paper to how he scoped it into a maquette, and how which design was finalized. um and you'll see a lot of behind the scene footage on how they did that stop motion, which was really cool. And they also said that George, when he was creating and working with these designers, he responded better to 3D models versus 2D models. They talk about Rose Dugan's first encounter with ILM. She went in to do an interview, and she was interviewing to work kind of alongside George Lucas, kind of, I don't want to say secretary, but somebody that worked very closely with him, that was able to help take notes and organize, because they needed organization there. And her first encounter was really funny because she walked in ILM, and I will post pictures on my Instagram story if you guys want to check that out, what ILM looked like. And it was not what I expected. I expected, obviously nothing super industrial office, nothing like WeWork or anything like that, but it was straight up a room with mismatched couches. That's how it started, and that was really interesting. And she was actually in the waiting room with George Lucas. She didn't realize that it was him at the time, and she asked the receptionist, like, "Hey, I'm here for this job. How do you like working here? How is it here? Have you met George Lucas? What's it like working with him?" And then she was called in for the interview, and Lucas, who had been in the same room, walked in with him, asked her a couple of questions, and was like, "You'll start Monday." And that was it. So I think that's really cool, and I think that is essentially the vibe that we're going to get from these 6 episodes. Um so that was really cool. And again, they talked about working a lot with George, who was kind of at the center of it all. He again was really vague when he asked for things. For example, he wouldn't get super descriptive. Oh, this creature may be a gray snow lizard, which again gave the artists a lot more freedom to come up with various designs to kind of just give as many, instead of 1 or 2 or 3, that they could give 8 for him to say, okay, this one, and we'll finalize it. So that was really cool. They did talk about how it's been going from, both in special effects and in filming, how it goes from digital, film to digital, and for effects, practical to digital. So they said that it's not really, the transition for them wasn't sort of abrupt. They were one of the first ones to do it because it is ILM, but they said it's really not about how it's done as far as movie making and visual effects. It's not how it's done, but it's about the emotion. And they threw this over to Phil, who they said he knew how to bring emotions to the movement of the creature, both in digital and in practical. And I like that it seemed like this panel too, they were also really encouraging young creators, young creative minds, to take a look at the series, and hopefully they can find new people that will get into this industry. And they made a note to say, there's people who have concepts that they have in their head, that they can create. They can dream up this creature or this alien and have it look like this in the final stages. And they said they love someone like that to join their team, because how you get there, they can train, but they would like to have someone on the team that can visualize this final product. So I thought that was really cool as well. So following the panel presentation, there was also a press conference. So there were some of the questions that was asked during the press conference, which I will share with you right now. What is currently going on at Industry Light and Magic at ILM? So Lynn would answer this one. She obviously, you guys know that they are working with on Star Wars stuff. So they're working with Lucasfilm, they're working with Marvel, they're working with Disney. There's like 20 some projects that's happening all at once. So there's a lot happening. Very busy for the people over at ILM. As far as Ron Howard and what it's like for him to work on Solo, he said it was great to be returning to ILM for that film. And when he came on, obviously we know what happened there. It was a tight schedule already when he came on. But to see that there are fans who really enjoyed Solo, that was gratifying for him and for the cast. And actually, I didn't know about this. Hey, Steven, and I didn't know about this. You guys know you've been watching The Mandalorian. You guys have been watching Boba Fett. Hopefully, you've watched Obi-Wan already. But he talked about Solo. Oh, so those films, those not they're not films. They are TV shows. They are one of the first projects to be filmed in the volume, which is really really cool because it's really immersive for the actors and for the directors and the creators because it's they're not on a blue screen. Everything is happening around them all at once. So Solo was actually, believe it or not, kind of the beginning of the volume. So it wasn't 360 like how we know the volume to be now. But oh, there's screaming happening. I think there's a meetup over by the fountain at the convention center. So it's just people are cheering. That's a lot of things happening here. But they did utilize a portion, something like the volume for the Millennium Falcon, specifically in the cockpit. So, for example, when they were jumping into hyperspace, the screens were already programmed to do that. So, one, the actors could feel really, really immersive while they punched it into hyperspace, and two, it also expedited the scene. I think we had a question from Steven here. Where's your husband at? You guys are great, both great together. Well, thank you. Dustin is unable to be here today, so quick sidebar. When I applied for a media badge, our outlet was only allowed one, and he also wasn't able to get off all 4 days off work. So the decision, and we're not allowed to like swap these in and out. Like he can't be wearing this if his name isn't attached to this, and vice versa. So because of all of those things, you will get me for the next couple of days when we do lives. But I think Saturday Dustin might do, not with me. He'll be doing it from a different location, but he might also do some lives as well. I'm not sure because with panels and ever-changing schedule at the convention, we don't know. But there will be live videos. It could be one of us. It could be both of us separately at some point in time. So I hope that answers your question. Steven says, remember that Maul might get his own series. It's possible. I think there's a big enough fan base for Maul to get his own series. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back into the press conference for Light and Magic. Next up, let's see. Nope, that's not the right notes. Oh, okay. I want to talk to you guys about the Phil Tippett talking about how they come up with certain names for certain creatures that we know and love in Star Wars. You guys probably heard earlier about how the Mon Calamari names came about, but here's a tidbit for Salacious Crumb. So this involved the guys going out to lunch and having one too many beers, and Phil Tippett leaned over to tie his shoelace, and because he had quite a few during lunch, he was not able to like grasp the shoelace, and he was trying to say my shoelace, and he kept on saying shoelacious. He couldn't like enunciate, right? And George goes, salacious, that's a name for the creature. And that's how it happens. And that's why I like sitting in these like panels and press conferences, because it's so fun to watch them kind of reveal these things that we really only like and candidly that we otherwise wouldn't have known. A lot of questions about how 3D printing and 3D effects, hi Sean Banks, how that has helped with production. So they say that, they're really liking it because that expedites a lot of the process, and it also helps them visualize when they have a tangible 3D printed model that they can put in front of something, as opposed to taking the time to sculpt it out of clay and XYZ. They can also 3D print negative molds, which is really important. So it's has been really helpful from what it sounds like. So there it is. Ashley says, hi. Wendy, hope you guys are good and my email reached you. Ashley, yes, it did. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, I should have said this and I didn't prep this. I will put this in a oh boy, I totally forgot. Ashley, I'm glad you came in here. You reminded me because we're going to sidebar once again. So Ashley helped Dustin and I design some t-shirts for the Movie Couple channel. So they're now available. I will have the link. I will put it up in a little bit on our socials. I totally forgot. So sorry about that. Um, but we will have merch now. It's on TeePublic. So if you search the Movie Couple, shirts will be there. We do have, starting for just right now, one design, but you can get it in various colors as well as various t-shirt colors. And you can get it on a shirt, a tank top, sweatshirt, crew necks, and things like that. So go ahead and check that out, and I will drop the link later on our various socials. So Ashley, thank you so much. And now let's go back to what we talked about in the press conference for Light and Magic. So let's see here, 3D printing. What other technology are they using? What new technology is spurring new ideas? And one of the things that they said was AI technology and how they can automate and get more natural reactions from the characters that they make, which was not something I was expecting, but it's nice to hear. And they're talking about, also having newer, younger directors coming into the scene and working on their ILM projects, like The Mandalorian. And let's use in the press conference, they used Deborah Chow and Bryce Dallas Howard as an example. They said it's really great to see their enthusiasm coming onto these projects, how much passion that they have for it, how much ideas they have for it, and that they are the ones that are getting to work in something very new technology, which is the volume, and their excitement for that and how that springs off new ideas. So it seems like it's really welcoming, and there it looks like it will. From the sounds of it, there's going to be more of them working with younger upcoming directors for more projects, which is really great. There is a clip that I will post later on my Instagram. I think I can do it reels. I might have to cut it up into part 1 and part 2 because it's over 60 seconds, and Instagram only on reels only allows you 60 seconds. But Ron Howard talking about, his reaction to Bryce working on her first episode of The Mandalorian season 1 back then. So look out for that on my socials, which is just my name, Wendy Lee Zaney. And then a couple of other questions about how is it between like practical effects and digital effects? What do they like better? What works better? What were their thoughts? So they said it's not about how they do it. It's about how the actors connect to the scene or how it, achieves specific story points. And so that all really depends on the actors, the scene, and also sometimes time. There are times where, they go and shoot something. Maybe they're a little bit crunched for time in their schedule. Something might be faster to be done faster in digital, and they will do it that way. But if they got the time, they don't need a rush, and they can do a practical, then they will do a practical. So it's not like a us versus them. This one's better than the other. Both are great, and they utilize it to how it fits best for the scene and or the actor and the production, which I think is a legit answer. And of course, they also said that this can expand to stunt scenes as well, because when you do things digitally via special effects, visual effects, then you can, especially if they're maybe further away, and I'm elaborating here, but they don't have to paint out the wires. Then certain stunts that are not being performed by an actual human being would obviously be very safe because there's no one being hurt in the process. So overall, I think this was such a great look into more of the movie magic, more of the light and magic. And if you're interested in ILM and how they do things there, I think this is the series that you guys want to check out. Like for any movie buff out there, and because you guys know, ILM isn't just in charge of Star Wars. There's Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, and Mission Impossible. There's so many movies that use ILM. Like they're the best of the best. So I saw a question from Ashley popped up. Ashley says, any mention on the Uncanny Valley issues? They haven't done, they actually didn't talk, they didn't go in depth into that. It just sounds like they are happy to learn and happy to utilize. And I think there was a question about deepfake that I didn't write down, but essentially it was that, they're happy to have the technology. They're wanting to explore it more. So that's really, really cool. You guys, let me know. I'm going to spend a couple more minutes here on the live. Let me know if there's anything you want to ask about other things at the con. If I can answer it for you, great. Please note that I have only been to two panels in the last 2 days, the Light and Magic one today, and then the Lucasfilm Showcase yesterday. And then obviously I saw Obi-Wan. So just if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and I'll answer them for you in the next couple of minutes. Tanvir says Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen just appeared on the celebration stage for the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. That totally makes sense. It's the 20th anniversary. The both of them are here to promote Obi-Wan because the both of them are in Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show. Totally makes sense for them to make an appearance for Attack of the Clone. Absolutely. And I think that was, if people were in the room, if you guys were in the room when you saw that, like, that's awesome. I was in the room yesterday when the two of them came out on stage at the very beginning of the Lucasfilm Showcase presentation. And that was like the whole room just erupted in cheers, lightsaber ignited, everybody screaming, everybody standing up, lots of applause. What a vibe. Really, really great time to be here. And I'm happy that I'm here. Okay, I don't think I see any questions. So I am going to go ahead and get going because I would like to, well, one, I need to eat. I haven't eaten a thing except for one granola bar and then some dude. We were sitting in the press conference and in the press conference room, and he saw that I was eating my granola bar and he asked me for a snack. He's like, I'm really hungry. I'm like, I mean, I'm not your mother, but I didn't want to say that and be rude, so I just handed him a pack of fruity snacks. It was I don't know, it was weird. Anyways, I think I saw one more question. Stephen Gamble says, have you, oh, hi Blade, thanks for stopping in, appreciate you. Steven says, have you talked about the Last Jedi sequel? The Last Jedi sequel? Oh, no, no one's, haven't heard anything about that at all. Oh, Blade just got back completely off topic, but also it's movies, and I love talking about movies. How did you like Top Gun, Blade? I've seen it twice. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. And Blade, if you can also let us know what format you saw it in. Was it IMAX, Dolby, Atmos? What else is there? Large format. Blade says, I really enjoyed it. Oh my God, I'm so glad. What's RPX? Please, I'm gonna make you type. I'm sorry. RPX, hold on. I don't have the internet here. Well, maybe I do. Hold on. Let's see. What is RPX? We're gonna live Google right now. Is RPX better than RPX is above this is from Google, is above a regular theater experience, but below that of the intricate filming and technology of IMAX. Okay, that doesn't give me much. Okay, okay, it means Regal Premium Experience? Is that what it is? High-end, big-screen Regal Cinemas theaters that allow that shows movies digitally with increased picture quality and surround sound. Oh, that sounds like fun. Does that sound about right? Ah, yes, Regal Premiere Experience. I was today years old when I learned about the Regal Premiere Experience. Good to know. All right, guys, I am going to go ahead and end this live. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about what I learned and saw and heard at the Light and Magic panel here at Star Wars Celebration. I'm going to go walk the floor a little bit. No, I am going to feed myself first, then walk the floor, and then I got some organizing and some car moving around I got to do. So you guys stay well. I will see you guys tomorrow doing another live thing at one point or another. To talk about Mando Plus, because that is the panel that I'm going to tomorrow. It's called a conversation, Mando Plus, a conversation with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. So I will be in that panel tomorrow. Very, very excited. I'm sure it's going to be a very popular one. So I will see you guys then. Love you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And I will see you soon. Stay well, guys.